Hey, what's up, Dean? Sear Performance. We are down the shop on Saturday, trying to wrapping up Jonathan's truck. So the other day I got everything underneath. Drive shaft's in, transmission's in, exhaust is hooked up, all that stuff. So yesterday I don't know what I did yesterday. No, I worked on the Nova yesterday. Got that ready for Alex to come get today. He got it, drove it home, and got a few things we got to work out. Gas tank's got a little leak on the filler neck to the gas tank. It's like that welded seam one. So he's going to order a new gas tank. Ran a little bit hot, so it could be a few things. It does still have a little bit of a misfire, but it's intermittent. So I think there's something going on with the ignition, whether it be the plug wires or the distributor. I think the carburetor is still acting up, and you can't correct it. So what he's gonna do is we're gonna get the gas tank, at least get that in the car, and then he's gonna drive it interior. We're gonna come back, and I think my suggestion would be to do a dual plane intake, so it's more of a streetable intake. Do a new carb, a new distributor, probably just do like a nice billet HEI distributor. And then I got a debate on the distributor, because now in my head, you know, he wanted fuel injection, but do we set it up to go that way later on? I don't know. But anyways, think about that later. But so yeah, there's a few things to work out, and that's just kind of how it goes. So we will get those worked out, get him on the road driving, be able to drive from here to Tampa, Sarasota. You know, I drove the car today, roughly 2,700 RPM, 2,800 RPM, maybe a little less, 24, 25 is about 60 miles an hour. So 60, 65 is kind of the limit, being that it's a 3-speed. It does have a tall gear in the rear, like a 308. So that's kind of what's keeping the RPMs a little bit lower. So moving forward, jump back onto Jonathan's truck. And as you can see, I got the intake on. I got the steam port kit on. This intake is not steam port friendly. So the rears, I had to do a 90 to over here to the T, had to come straight up and over to this side, which I had to go straight onto this side. So it kind of comes up and over the intake. It's not horrible, but this side's open because I'm going to have to probably turn it and go shoot the line under the intake. But then this side here, you can see the intake with the T, the top of the T was hitting the intake. So I had to put a 90 on here. So I'm going to have to T the line here, and bring this side to over here. And then I'm going to run them up to this port here. Not a big deal. But all of the wiring is plugged in except for the cam sensor. So everything is plugged in up here, and the MAT obviously. And then the injectors are plugged in. The coils have to be plugged in, but I had to get those harnesses for it. I just took the harness apart because I just didn't like the way they were. And this is what I find. Where they spliced all the wires, like these are all the power wires. I would assume these are the power wires. They're literally taped. They're just, I don't even think they're soldered. I'm going to take this apart. Oh, how do you do it? Let me try to set it up. That's my fat finger. It's not going to stay. There's so much stuff in the way. Okay. So you can kind of see this yellow tape or yellow wire. So Yep. It's got a little crimp barrel on it. So it has a little brass crimp barrel and then just some electrical tape. But that's not really the way to do it. So I'm probably going to de-pin this plug. I think this is the easier side to do. And then I'm going to organize the harness in a way that it makes sense to me. And it'll allow me to trim some of the wires back, and I'll do a heat sleeve over these. If I don't have to cut and shorten them, I'll do a heat shrink over them, and then I will put all new loom on it. I'll put the braided loom, kind of like the Holly rather than the split loom. See, and that's what kind of led me to peeling it apart, was I saw the bear on the black, and I said, man, that's really weird. I hope they didn't just twist them together, but hopefully there's not twisted together wires, but we will fix it. Feels like they're crimped, but we'll fix it. So I'm gonna redo those. I got the radiator in. The radiator hoses are all hooked up. Power steering hoses, the accessories are all on. Power steering hoses are hooked up. Battery terminals hooked up. Alternators plugged in. AC lines are hooked up. Water heater core lines are hooked up to the water pump. PCV lines are hooked up. Throttle cables hooked up. Fuel lines hooked up. Return lines hooked up. So everything is back for right now, minus the intake tube. I don't have to have that on there right at this moment, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll probably end up stringing this through here. I don't remember where the intake tube goes, to be honest with you. I think it goes to the other side. Pretty sure it goes to the other side. So I will string this over neater, nicer, something. Maybe just, I don't know, I'm losing my mind. Something like that. But anyways, I got to get oil, another filter, coolant. The clutch line's all hooked up. I just finished bleeding out the clutch, so this has the bleeder. It's right back there. So it has that bleeder, and what I did was I put the rubber hose into the clutch master. You fill it, you go in the truck, and you just really slowly, the way I know, is you just slowly depress the pedal, hold it for a second, let it up slow, slowly depress it, let it up slow, over and over and over and over and over. So I did that a ton of times. I may end up doing it one more time, just because I don't have the utmost confidence in myself with the throwout bearing. But I know it's adjusted right. It's bled out pretty good, so I'll know as soon as you feel the clutch. If this tries to push when I put it in gear, there's no other option. There's no other remedy than replacing the clutch sleeve, the clutch master, with a bigger bore. But this is a very different one because it's inside the truck. So it locks in the truck, and then just the very end of it sticks out where the hose hooks to, the clutch line hooks to. I don't know that there's a bigger bore replacement that would just lock in, especially this is like almost like a square with some tabs, and it goes in and then it clicks over and locks. So I've always seen people do like the Wildwood or Willwood, whatever you want to call it, aftermarket style ones, and they have brackets and this and that, and there's not a lot of room to do all of that in here. So it might be a situation I have to pop the inner fender out, something like that. That would give me a ton of room to work up in there. But we'll cross that bridge. It wasn't horrible when I had it together last time, so we will come to that when we come to that. But I have a couple of little pieces I got to replace: the check valve for the booster, I have it up on my toolbox. I got to get oil, filter. I'm going to get 2 oil changes. It has a filter in it. I'm going to get 2 oil changes worth of oil. I'm going to get another Wix filter, coolant. That's about it. And once we get oil in it and coolant in it, it's pretty much ready to fire up. So that is a good thing. Probably going to throw the battery on the charger just because I've had it disconnected the whole time, but I'm going to throw it on the charger just in case. And then hopefully Monday I have a class. So I won't be here till a bit later in the afternoon, probably about 3 or something. So I don't know, I might just get the fluids in it or something. But Tuesday definitely should have it up and running. The belt is on it already. Everything is done. It's ready other than the coil harness and then fluids. So for this one, that's it. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave me a comment. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe.